Hey, you guys, I'm excited and I've been overwhelmed here today. But now I'm getting more relaxed and I want to welcome our guest, Miss Miriam. Thank you so much for coming on our channel. We appreciate you and your time and thank you for working with me with my busy schedule today. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's such an honor and a privilege to spend some time with you. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I like to start out by asking, what was your? Uh, I forgot. We're gonna cancel that one. About your eating habits when you were growing up. I think
You want to know like my eating habits growing up?
yes.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm from the Netherlands,
Mhm.
and in the Netherlands, and nowadays it's different. But when I grew up, it was super normal that you ate vegetables, potatoes, and probably also some meat, dessert, those kind of things, bread during the day, and so on. But I've always been, yeah, pretty headstrong, I guess, about what I want to put in my body and what feels right and what doesn't. So as a young child, I, for example, didn't like milk products. It caused so much mucus,
Mhm.
and I didn't like that. And so I kind of refused to drink milk. And today I'm so thankful for that because it's just so acidic and it's not good for your body at all.
Mhm.
And when it comes to, for example, animal products, I did eat them for sure. It was the norm in our house. There was, and also at that time, eating plant based or raw, even that was not like a big thing. So yeah, I just ate whatever my parents served me, but when it came to milk, that was like a big no. And I've always been in touch really with my body and listening to my body from a very young age. And I noticed that eating animal products wasn't really suiting me, and that I felt so full, and I I didn't really like most of it too, and so I didn't eat a lot of it. And then I started researching as well. I've always been super interested in health and being healthy, and so I started a bit, researching. And when I was around 16, 17, I heard about detoxification and something just clicked with me. And I thought, that is the key. I don't know why, but that is the key. And I just want to know more about it. So ever since, I've really been on a journey to learn more about the body, the working of the body, about detoxification and what is it. And I ate a lot of fruit and a lot of leafy greens and a lot of veggies, but I still also ate animal products. And then at a certain point, I just noticed like, no, I don't want to eat any animal products whatsoever anymore because it doesn't make me feel good. And in the Netherlands, cheese is a big thing, I'm telling you. So if you ever would come here, we have a lot of cheese shops and everyone is like kind of nuts about it.
Wow.
So that was kind of like a thing, like to give that up, but if you really dive into cheese, you need like 10 liters of milk to make 1 kilo of cheese.
Wow.
So it's a lot. And then all the stuff that I put in it, it's not okay. And again, like it's so acidic, it's not okay for your body. Yeah, so it wasn't a hard thing to give up, by the way. It's just more, that it's in so many things.
Mhm.
and also when you go for dinner with friends, like nowadays it's a totally different thing. Over here I think it's not so hard at all, if you don't want to eat animal products, to go somewhere eating out. Most restaurants cater for it, which is great. When it comes to raw foods, that's a different thing.
Mhm.
um, Sometimes you can be amazed how, well, not so creative people are when like building a salad. I mean, I think it's kind of not a super hard thing to do, a fairly easy thing to do, but yeah. Sometimes it can be so plain, and I'm like, man, you can chuck in this there and this and this and this and put like this amazing delicious dressing on top. you know
Yeah.
so, anyways, on my journey to learn more and more, I kind of decided at a certain point, I seriously don't remember when, but a long, long time ago, like I'm ditching all the animal products. And so I did. And I also kept looking for someone who could teach me more about detoxification.
Mhm.
And then at a certain point, I have been into juicing for almost like 25 years, no, longer actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love it. I drink everyday juice. I've got some juice over here. I drink it every day, and there is not a day that goes without it.
Mhm.
So once I discovered this little book by Dr. Norman Walker,
Okay.
and he is actually the inventor of the juicer
Mhm.
and also the pioneer when it comes to raw food, and also the pioneer when it comes to celery juice. So there's only one person on this earth that deserves all the honor when it comes to celery juice, and that is Dr. Norman Walker. And he was amazing. He discovered like extracting the juice from greens and vegetables, and he tested on athletes and so on what it did with their body, and a phenomenal guy. So I thought, okay, I ordered his book, and it's called Vegetable and Fruit Juices.
Oh, yes.
And I thought, okay, fun, learn more about juice, right? But when I started reading this small book, I thought, wow, what wisdom.
Mhm.
This guy is incredible. So I thought, I don't care where he is in the world. I'm going to buy tickets. I'm going to fly to wherever this guy lives. And I want to learn from him.
Mhm.
But quickly I discovered that he unfortunately isn't with us anymore.
Mhm.
So, but I bought all his books after that. I thought, whatever this guy left behind as his legacy, I want to get into it. I want to learn from him. And he has about 6 or 7 books. They're all thin books, small books, but a
Mhm.
wealth of knowledge. And for me, a book doesn't need to be thick or big or whatever. It's about what's in there, and it are just gems. They're just amazing. So I read them all, and I still do from time to time. I go through them, and sometimes I'm like, wow, I just haven't read that before. And of course, I've read it, but it hasn't landed, or you get just a deeper meaning of it, a different angle of the truth. And it's just like, wow, this is so amazing.
Yes.
So, but my journey didn't stop there because I was like, I want to learn more about detoxification. And then at a certain point, I discovered Dr. Robert Morse.
Mhm.
And this guy is just a champion. He is
Mhm. Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
And I discovered that he also trains people in learning more about detoxification. So when I knew that, I thought, okay, great.
Mhm.
I'm going to where he is, and I'm going to be trained by him. And so I did also many years ago. And yeah, it's great. He doesn't unfortunately give his live trainings anymore. He does everything online nowadays. But I've been there for level 1 and 2 in
Mhm.
person, and it was just incredible. He is amazing. And I'm still in contact with the clinic and with Dr. Morse, and
Yeah.
a life-changing experience. He is just phenomenal. And from there, you just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And also, you as soon as you start listening to your body
Yes.
and you stop eating certain things
Mm-hmm.
and you start eating more of the things you're already eating that are just so good for you,
Mm-hmm.
you become more and more sensitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're removing all those blockages. And that has just been amazing. And so, yeah, that is kind of like a long answer to your question, but that's kind of like my journey from where I started to where I am today.
Oh, okay. So you didn't do the plant-based, you went straight into raw vegan?
Well, I am not 100% raw,
Mm-hmm.
and I just eat a lot of raw,
Mm-hmm.
and most of my days I am fully raw.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I sometimes, for example, I love curries. They are just amazing. So I do like to eat that from time to time, but
Mm-hmm.
most of my days are fully raw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I didn't. But the fun thing is, though, I had never heard of the term raw food.
Mm-hmm.
And as in a diet, that it's a certain lifestyle that you follow. And when I've also lived overseas. I'm from the Netherlands, but I lived about almost 6 years overseas. And so I've lived in South Africa, in Australia, and in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And when I lived in the States, I had two roommates, and they were awesome. And we were chatting once. And also back then, I was so much into food and into juicing.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually thought that I was a raw foodie because of the way that I ate.
Mm-hmm.
And so they questioned me about, like, hey, what about, or the question is something else, but like they asked me about it, and I said, like, hey, yeah, what do you mean by that? And so they knew about that diet, that lifestyle, because in the States it's way bigger thing already back then than it was for me in Europe and also in Australia. It isn't the big thing. Maybe now is, I don't know. I haven't been there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it was so interesting and intriguing. I thought, oh, I'm gonna check that. And so I researched what was that with the raw food diet. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was like, oh yeah, I totally get that. I think that I'm a raw foodie because this is basically how I eat every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know it was kind of like, also a real lifestyle that people were just, sometimes even almost religious about. So
Yeah.
that was a kind of like a fun discovery. And I do need to say, I do think that it's super, super, super important to eat lots of raw food. And I also do think, even though I do it myself, that 100% raw is super amazing. Like, I've had periods, long periods, that I ate only raw. And I do notice a difference
Mm-hmm.
when I eat a curry, for example. I do notice afterwards my energy levels are different. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Raw food is just high vibrational. It's just so, so, so good for you. But then at the same time, I'm also like, hey, I do like a curry here and there, and I do like to eat this or that, sometimes. And so I want to be relaxed about it towards myself, but also it just really makes it easier with my surroundings when I go somewhere. So
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But I do not compromise when it comes to outside. I'm not going to eat outside my scope. I'm not going to eat animal products whatsoever. I do not eat soy whatsoever. That is just not getting into my body.
Mhm.
So uh, I'm very strict when it comes to that. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and I love your journey. I mean, you started young, so that is amazing to have that type of mindset at a young age.
Yeah, and you know what I love too? When I was very young, I discovered spirulina and chlorella.
Mhm.
I was 17 or 18, and I was already intrigued by that.
Mhm.
And at that time, like hardly anyone had ever heard about it, and
Mhm.
they thought like, so what are you drinking? Like chlorella, spirulina, what is it?
Mhm.
Interestingly, and I've never bothered what people thought or whatsoever, but I can honestly say I have never been criticized for the way that I eat. And I've heard from other people's like, hey, there's struggles and so on. And it's interesting. And most of the time, not always, but most of the time, people receive criticism and other things from people. It's when they actually kind of like enforce their beliefs onto other people. It's
Mhm.
something I've never done. I've always been respectful to other people's lifestyles. It doesn't mean that I agree with how they eat, but it's their body, it's their life. They need to make their changes.
Mhm.
But they see how I live and how I eat.
Mhm.
And I haven't been sick in over 15 years, like, and I eat way longer healthy, way longer than 15, but it's just, it hasn't been a thing,
Mhm.
I feel amazing. And people see that. And that is a way bigger testimony, a way bigger story than me telling, like, oh, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that. Oh, you should. Come on. I think love people where they are at,
Mhm.
and also don't preach. But if someone asks you a question, that means that their heart is open to hear from you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then you are not talking to, you know, uh, a wall, but you're
Right.
actually talking to an open heart,
Yeah.
and that will help. And I think that is just the way to go. But anyway, so I've never struggled with people being negative or anything. And also, I've also, what I already said actually at the beginning, I've always been pretty strong headed about how I want to live, and I want to listen to my body and
Mhm.
stay true to that. That's very important. But
Yes.
then what was funny, so I used really spirulina, chlorella, and those things. And then around 10, 15 years later, it became this huge thing in
Mhm.
the Netherlands.
Oh, wow.
And then those people remembered, like, hey, Miriam always used those stuff. She knows about it.
Uh-huh.
Then they came back to me and asking, like, hey, what did you use and which brand is okay? And it's kind of funny. I'm like, oh, you guys are also now getting into it. That's great.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow. When you spoke about basically living an example, like my husband, like in 2009, I'm like, you got to eat, try this, do the raw foods and stuff. Like, he like, no, I got to eat. But now today, I'm like, wow, like he is like all in. He's very careful with what he eats. I'm like, do you
wow.
want this? He's plant based, and I'm like, do you want this? And he's like, no, I don't want none of that. So even like vegan or plant based macaroni and cheese, he is he'll eat it every now and then. He's like, I don't feel good when I eat that stuff. Like I can
Exactly.
tell what's
Yeah,
going on, and now he's like he want everything to be light and I'm happy about that.
yeah.
To see him changing by watching what I've been doing.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. Even
That is really such an amazing thing. I'm so happy for you because
yes.
isn't that one of the hardest things, that when you love someone so deeply, especially when it's your life partner,
Hmm.
and they live so differently from what you love and what you cherish,
Hmm.
that is a hard thing. It
Yeah.
is. And but then again, if you stay true to your path and they see how well you're doing, that you are high energy, that your skin is glowing, and
Mhm.
also I don't know if you've noticed it, but you become so much more down to earth and in
Mhm.
tune with nature and with God, and spiritually, it's just another level.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just really is.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that is so true. I mean, to see the mind changes, and just being more patient and more connected, even with people, just it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Now that this type of food brings, I mean, don't get me wrong, people do whatever they do, but it just brings like the proper energy
Yeah.
and the love. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about other people and what they doing, but
No, I
I
totally
can
hear
just
you.
I
It's
can
just
tell
what
the
you
difference.
feel, what happens in your atmosphere.
Yes.
It's just how it is, and
Yes.
it's not a negative towards anyone else. No, it's just your reality that you're expressing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That is so true. And the energy.
Yeah, isn't
So,
that great? Like I'm telling you, Denise, I am working on like a kind of like a big project at the moment,
mhm,
and I am usually pretty strict about what time I get up, which is very early, and what time I go to bed, which is pretty early, because I get up so early. So, but I try to get up like between 4:30 and 5:30. So most days 4:30, sometimes it's 5, and there are also some days I'm like, okay, it's 5:30. And then what I do, I get straight into my kitchen.
mhm,
I make my juices for that day, and depending on whether I also need to get out, like I will make a raw wrap or a huge salad or whatever to bring on the go. And
mhm,
then my dinner, I usually prep just right before I'll eat dinner.
mhm,
And then I'm going to spend some time with God. And then I'm either get at home, like working, or I go out of the day. And it's just amazing, even though I go early to bed, I can go way later to bed. It's just because my energy levels are so high.
mhm,
But I've also done quite some research into sleeping patterns and what is really good for you in the long run. And even though I could live on less hours, I I usually don't do it. It's not my normal pattern. And this is also something that Dr. Norman Walker talks quite a bit about. He is like, you maybe don't notice it, and maybe you think you're doing really great, but depriving yourself constantly, as in a pattern of
mhm.
sleep, and thinking your whole life that 5 hours will do for you, eventually you'll pay the price.
Wow.
And so I took note of that. So I don't do it, but there are exceptions. And so right now I'm working on like big projects, and I've got a lot to do. And I have made for a week and a half days of working nonstop, 13 to 14 hours,
Mhm,
and been sleeping like anything between 3. That wasn't a great night because I just couldn't sleep. I had so much energy going on and all these creative ideas. So that wouldn't be great. And also 5-6 hours only.
mhm,
Um, and that was then by choice, those 5-6 hours.
mhm,
Um, I still feel great. I don't feel like, oh my goodness, I just worked for such a long period, so many hours. I'm just done.
mhm.
No, nothing the matter. I just feel fantastic. I feel high energy. And it comes through the way that I live. It's just, and it's not just diet, but diet is key. It's one of the most important things,
Yes.
you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, then you can just go. I love it.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's beautiful to have the energy, and throughout the day. I mean, I had a hiccup, but I'll talk about that. Actually, I was interviewed by Sky. I don't know if you heard of her, but me and my daughter was interviewed by Sky, and we have a testimony of what we experience. Um, but I don't want to talk about it right here. I want to keep here with you. But I know you say you do spirulina and chlorella, and do you do any other supplements?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, I am Team Chlorella. I think chlorella is just yeah. I think a bit more superior than spirulina. I think they're both great. Don't get me wrong. Really, they're both great. But I think chlorella is just a bit more nutrient dense. And yeah, so I do chlorella every single day without exception. But chlorella and spirulina, they are both not supplements. And it's not word picking what I'm trying to do, but there's really a distinction between a supplement and an actual food product.
Yes.
And so to answer your question, I do not take any supplements whatsoever because supplements are isolates.
Mhm,
And so calcium is taken out of a product and a salt is a supplement.
mhm,
Magnesium is taken out of a product and so on.
mhm,
You have your normal chemical makeup. And, when people experience that they are lacking magnesium or iron or whatever it might be, it sounds really logical and also pretty smart to take that particular, you know, substitute to bring your levels back
mhm,
up, right?
mhm,
But it isn't because you're actually really messing
mhm.
your chemical makeup.
Yes.
It's like a bandit, and actually that's how it looks. But
Mhm,
actually, you're bringing more. Um, how do you call that? You're mixing it up. It's just not okay.
mhm.
And what we should do though is look at the root cause. Like,
Yes.
what is it? What is the reason why I have not enough magnesium? Why am I lacking?
Mhm,
Uh, Interestingly, for example, there was always this big slogan over here in the Netherlands, like, milk, it's great for everyone.
yeah. Here too.
Um, it's not great for everyone. It's great for no one. It's only great for calves, for baby cows.
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
their food.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And I sometimes think like it would seem so weird if a human being goes into and sees a cow and thinks like, hey, it's gonna hang underneath and just drink from that cow. I mean, that would look just insane, right?
Yes, exactly.
But that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
However, it looks a little different because we take it out of a package that we
Yeah.
buy in the supermarket.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, that's actually what we're doing, and that looks really, really weird.
Yeah,
And
it
it
is.
is really weird because it's not our food.
That's
It's
right.
Yeah. But how natural does it look when you see a baby drinking from his mom?
Mhm.
Not weird at all. Yeah, some people think
Exactly.
like, "Ooh, I don't want to see it because that's just distorted view." That's okay. But they maybe think, like, oh, put something over it or whatever for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But they do think it's natural that you're feeding your baby.
Yeah.
And so back to why I'm saying this, they think like drinking milk, oh, that's great, a lot of calcium is in there. Well, actually, your body will leach calcium if you drink a lot of milk products. So the opposite is true.
Mhm.
And so this is also one of the reasons why so many people have issues with calcium and magnesium. It's because they use so many animal products, specifically like milk and cheese.
Mhm.
It's not okay.
Right.
It leaches, from your body. Your bones actually become weak.
Mhm.
And so, back to the supplement thing. If you have issues with whatever it is, start start researching what might be the cause. And I'm telling you, 100% of the people will come to this conclusion if they do their research correctly, and that is, hey, my diet.
Mhm.
I need to fix my diet. I
Yes.
need to stop eating animal products,
Mhm.
and definitely milk products. Like I would say all animal products, of course. But
Mhm.
if you look what is more harmful, it's both harmful, but what is more harmful, it's the milk,
Mhm.
because it's so acidic. It's so bad for your lymphatic system. And if your lymphatic system cannot function properly, then your kidneys cannot function properly, and your whole body will be in shambles,
Yeah.
eventually. You don't want to have that.
Right.
So
That.
no, I would never. Well, no, I would not recommend people to use supplements. Instead, like, clean up your diet and
Yes.
see how you feel. And I'm not saying that you need to go all the way, for example, like 100% raw. No, but do cut out the animal products, and start your day with a fresh pressed juice. Eat like a ton of fruit during the morning. It's so good hydrating your body and getting all those
Mhm.
amino acids in your body, in those good sugars, because sugar is amazing. You
Yes.
need it, and a lot of it. Your brain functions great on sugar, unrefined sugar, that is, from fruit, leafy greens, and veggies.
Yes.
And eat like a humongous salad for lunch. It's not hard. And then for dinner, just eat a fantastic plant-based meal. It's
Mhm.
and have a good salad also on the side, or whatever you like. Make it 50% raw, 50% cooked, and
Mhm.
see how you go. And within a fairly short time, you will start feeling better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that within a very short time your issues will be completely solved.
Right.
I do want to stress that, because it really depends on how severe it is, and
Yes.
also how old are you, how and your background, and also, for example, when you're born and you're born in a natural way, not through C-section, just you come out of your mom, you get like that first bacterial,
Mhm.
that forms your microbiome. You
Mhm.
get that from your mom, partially from your dad, but mostly from your mom. If your mom wasn't in a great shape, your microbiome will not be in a great shape.
Mhm.
If their moms wasn't great, it goes from generation to generation.
Mhm.
Definitely. That
Yes.
doesn't mean that you cannot fix it. You
Mhm.
are not a victim of your genes.
Mhm.
Heck no.
Right.
It's They often say, like, oh, this or that. It runs the family, and I'm like, I think your diet runs the family,
Right.
and you can do a lot about it. Of course, there are exceptions. There are certain things, but we are not talking about the exceptions. We're talking about the general picture.
Mhm.
And in that case, I'm like, no, um, you actually are the one who can fire that gun. What's going to happen? What's
Yeah.
going to happen with your body, with your life, how it's going to look like? And you know what? A great example of that is, for example, Mimi Kirk. Have you heard of Mimi Kirk?
Yes. I have her book.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too. Like I bought it like many, many years
Yes.
ago when it came
Yes.
out, just because I wanted to support her as well. Like,
Mhm.
she is great. Like, well, for anyone who doesn't know who she is like, I think in her 80s by
Mhm.
now.
Yes.
And she was already a vegetarian for a long time.
Mhm.
Then she chose to eat only plant food, so vegan diet.
Mhm.
And then eventually she discovered the raw vegan diet, and she was like, hey, I'm going for that. And She feels so great. And I'm not sure she has two or three sisters, but it doesn't really matter. The thing is, her sisters do pop pills, medication, and they do have certain issues that run their family. However, Mimi Kirk at 80 plus has no issues whatsoever, isn't popping pills. No,
Yeah.
she's vibrant, she's great, she's radiant.
Hmm.
There you go. It's just, the proof you can change so
Hmm.
much.
Yes.
And yeah, and then back to what I was saying about, fixing things. It really so depends how is your situation. And I am like, well, I would recommend everyone, if you really are serious about your health, really change your diet. And if you really want to fix things and, regenerate your cells, take a few years for that. It might not take a few years, but it might does. And if you think that's a long time, look back how old you are already and see how many years you have been living in a certain way, plus what you might have inherited through your, with the past, from mom to mom to mom.
Hmm.
It's not that long.
Hmm.
It's not that long at all. And then as well, like look at the benefits it's giving you.
Yes.
You're gonna feel like fantastic every single day. And of course, detoxification process can be pretty harsh.
Hmm.
It can be. It doesn't need to be, but it can be. It really depends again on, what is your situation and how hard are you going after it, and do you actually work together with someone like Dr. Robert Morse, because that makes a huge difference too. There are so many people nowadays, and I don't want to shame anyone. Really, please hear my heart, but they look up a few videos, they read a few blogs, and they try to figure things out themselves. And they
Hmm.
actually have no idea what's happening with their body.
Yeah.
Like, please, just go to a detoxification specialist. It doesn't need to cost that much at all. And you are investing in your future as well.
Hmm.
Let somebody take you by the hand until you get it and until you feel just confident what you're doing. Don't take that risk.
Hmm.
um, and then if you do it in that way and let yourself be guided initially in that beginning phase of cleaning up your body when you are sick, right? I'm talking about that. And oh man, yeah, the sun will shine again. You will start to feel great again. I know so many stories, and I've met so many people as well. When I was doing those trainings by Dr. Robert Morris, the people who were like in wheelchairs and whatever, bedridden, were alive, kicking. They could do everything again. It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Wow. That is amazing. Now I'm going back to, you mentioned you will not put soy in your body. Could you elaborate on why and what's going on with soy? Because I don't do soy either.
No, well, it's kind of like a sensitive topic, isn't it?
It is.
And yeah. Um, Honestly, I do not want to go too much into it just because it's so. I don't mind that it's controversial, but I just have my opinion on it. And if someone else wants to eat soy, you
Right.
know, do whatever you want to do, right?
Yes.
But in the vegan world, it's kind of like a praised product.
Mm-hmm.
So many people eat it because they are basically trying to recreate the diet that they already ate. And it's oftentimes because of animal rights. Well, I think it's fantastic if you love the planet and if you love animals. I have never changed my diet in any way, shape, form because of animals. I really changed my diet because I was listening to my own body
Mm-hmm.
and looking at nature and following that way. And I think if you follow the way of nature, then you will also discover like, hey, we are not made to eat other creatures. You know, of course, again, there might be exceptions. If you are in a certain situation in whatever, which happens like hardly ever to anyone, you know, that you have nothing else and you need to, go rabbit hunting or whatever to survive. I mean, like, go rabbit hunting, whatever, if you need to do that really to survive, right?
Mhm.
But in overall, no, we are not made for it at all. You know, you might just like GMCs use sometimes when food is scarce. And again, n- hardly any one of us will be ever in that situation.
Mhm.
So follow nature in that sense. But if you look at soy, well, we know that rats kind of like eat everything and anything.
Mhm.
Apparently, they will not eat soy. I think that's an interesting thing.
Wow.
And another thing with soy is, and here the and this is something, if people think differently about it, it's totally fine, but it does mess with your hormones.
Mhm.
And some people like, oh, it's really not the same. It's totally different. If that's what you believe, that's great.
Mhm.
I hope that you won't get issues, but probably if you will stop eating it altogether and clean up your diet, and then you start feeling how great you can actually feel,
Mhm.
I think you come to other conclusions.
Mm.
And another thing is, even really respected researchers have said, um, we do not know and we cannot distinguish which soy is manipulated and which not.
Mhm.
And they also say that basically most soy is manipulated.
Mm.
That is not a good thing at all.
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So, again, like it really can cause hormonal issues, and it's not okay. And I also think, when it comes to this, um, I am of the opinion that there are a few exceptions, but generally speaking, that if you cannot eat it raw, you need to think twice if you want to eat it cooked.
Mhm.
For example, a chickpea, would I eat it cooked? Yes, I would, because I know what it does to your body, what it contains, and so on. But uh, a chickpea, I can also eat it raw. It is harder and you need to sprout it, and that can be a little bit tricky, but you
Mhm.
can eat it raw.
Yes.
Plus, it doesn't taste crappy at all when you eat it raw
Right.
or when you eat it cooked without any seasoning.
Mhm.
If you look at soy, you um, cannot eat it raw. As far as I know, it doesn't really sprout well.
Mhm.
And if you want to eat it plain, it's disgusting.
Wow.
Have you ever heard anyone eating tofu without doing any works on it? No, they need to marinate it like forever and
Mhm.
then spice it with other things and so on to make it edible.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so, you know, let's just say, think about all things around it,
Mhm.
and then I think you might come to the same conclusion. Why it's not such a great thing for your body.
Yeah.
What's the reason that you would not eat soy?
Well, I mean, I heard special, people out there, doctors mention that it's not human consumption. It's not for human consumption.
Mm.
But I did try it uh, this year. think it was this year. And my body was like, no, you're not. Like it was like a big old no, you know.
There you go.
And my little, I call her my little one. Um, I did a test for her when she was a baby, and she was allergic to it, so I always kept it out of the house, you know. But yeah, when I ate some, it was like no, nope, nope. And I heard so many things that it does and it causes as well. So yeah, nah, even my body is saying no, we're not,
Exactly.
it's not good, you know. It's too many other, you can take chickpeas and make a chickpea tofu if you want to eat.
Exactly. There there are alternatives. Plenty. Yeah.
Yes, and lentils. There's so many alternatives today. So yeah, it's a big no for me.
Yeah. I've once saw a an email between FDE people,
Mhm.
and that was kind of like shocking. They said like, "Oh man, if the world, like I'm paraphrasing, like if the world only knew how bad soy is, no one would even touch it."
Mhm.
And they were like sharing with one another how many complaints they got every single day about people having so many issues with their body, with their health due to
Wow.
soy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting as well, right? When um, certain doctors, you go to the doctor because you have a certain health issue. And in particular cases, they would say, oh, you can absolutely not eat soy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in the Netherlands, that's quite common that a doctor will say that when you have a particular issue.
Mhm.
And I, I think it's always so interesting when they accept that in those particular situations.
Yeah.
But no, there's nothing the matter with soy. It's great, you know. I'm like, okay, but in those situations you can absolutely not eat it at all. Like, I mean, have you ever heard that someone could not eat fruit because for whatever reason? No, you can, eat fruit. Ever
Mhm.
heard that someone cannot eat leafy greens because it's harming their health? Heck no.
No.
And
Yeah.
that should ring a bell, I think.
Yeah. But you know, the carnivore world, you know, they talk about oxalates, and even other
Yeah,
people talk about oxalates that
yeah,
are in greens is going to cause
yeah.
kidney stones and all the things. But guess what? That's not true. You know,
It isn't true. And you know what is so funny? Those people, they drink a ton of coffee. Guess what's in coffee? Heaps more than in greens.
yeah,
Oxalates.
yes, and a bunch of
It's
other stuff.
yeah. And also like you need to eat so much spinach, for example, so much. Will it really become an issue? I'm not even know if you survive eating so much spinach. Like
Yes.
it's so it's insane all the claims that are
Mhm.
made and taken completely out of proportion.
Yes.
And I do think it's great to alternate your greens, and just as I think it's really great, to change up with your fruits and so on. Just of course,
Mhm.
but no, there is so much rubbish out there in the world, and I totally get that it's quite difficult for people to find out what is true and what isn't.
Yeah.
It's not made easy at all
Yeah.
nowadays. And
And
that's this. Yes,
uh-huh.
sorry.
No, I apologize.
No, it's totally fine. And this is one of the reasons why I love Dr. Robert Moore so much.
Mhm.
This guy stays true
Consistent.
to his convictions. He
Yes.
doesn't give a rip about what anyone else thinks or says.
Mhm.
He tells it how it is,
Yes.
and it comes out of this big, loving heart
Yes.
because he wants to see people get better.
That's right.
Some person, I don't know who, uh, many years ago posted a video that with the purpose to basically bash Dr. Robert Morse.
Wow.
That video received a lot of comments, and I I haven't read them all because it are a lot of comments. But all the comments that I read, and I read a lot, they
Hmm.
were like, "Man, this guy saved my life. He is the best. Hey, man, I had stage 4 cancer, and because of Dr. Robert Morse, I am healed. Like, what is your issue with this guy? Like,
Yeah.
those kind of comments, like on a
Yes.
row. I thought, yeah, this is it. This
Mm-hmm.
is just how it is. And so it's so great that people are out there telling it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always like, hey, give it a shot. You try it for a month and
Mm-hmm.
see how you go.
Yes.
And so many people are already commenting, like, hey, man, my energy levels are up. My
Mhm.
skin looks better within no time. Often already after a week, they are saying things like that. Well,
Yes.
and your husband is a great example.
Yeah.
How he now is like, hey, no, I don't want to eat that. I want to eat light because then I feel so much better.
Yes. And he runs around people younger than him. I
Yeah,
mean, it's the energy is amazing. So yes.
yeah, that's great.
I'm excited. I can talk to you all day. This is so enlightening, and so I'm just getting a lot of learning, a lot more things. Um, so Miriam,
Yeah.
what does a day look like in what you eat? A typical day. And I know you share some things with us already.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Well, I get out of bed, go into my kitchen, and I always start my day with celery juice and a leafy green juice. And most of my days, I also make an orange juice. And when it comes to my leafy green juice, it's about 32 ounces, a liter.
Mhm.
And for the orange juice, the same. And for my celery juice, it's about um, 16 ounces, half a liter, 500 ml. And with my leafy green juice, for anyone who wants to know what's in there, I I always do about, depends on the size of the apples, but about 4 apples. If they're real small, I do about six.
Mhm.
I do a cucumber, so good for hydration,
Mhm.
and also makes a lot of juice, which is economical. And I do a whole bunch of leafy greens and a lime. And lime is great because lime it also helps for iron absorption. So that are great ways, to combine certain things with others so
Mhm.
that they help each other, to for the most profit for your body. And
Mhm.
then I do turmeric and ginger fresh. So that is then my juice, and I love it. And I change up my leafy greens. So I usually go once a week to the wholesaler here, and then I buy like big cases of greens,
Mhm.
and I buy all sorts of different greens. So I buy purslane and whatever other, but always leafy greens.
Mhm.
And I want to say this. I will share about my diet, but I want to share this. Like when it comes to leafy greens, the reason why I am not saying veggies is because it's really a different group, a food group.
Yes.
Leafy greens are far, far, far superior than vegetables. I am not against vegetables, but I don't eat a lot of vegetables. My days are mostly filled with a ton of juices, smoothie bowls, fruit, and leafy greens.
Mhm.
And yeah, so if you look into how nutrient dense leafy greens are,
Mhm.
they are superior.
Yes.
So oftentimes, people use phrases like fruit and veggies. Hey, I'm not against that you use it, but just be aware the leafy greens is really a food group on its own.
Mhm.
So that's really important. And then when it comes to my OJ, my orange juice, I just drink it straight up. I love it. I've
Mhm.
also done quite some juice feasts. I always call it a feast because it's such a feast for your body, for your mental health, for so many things.
Mhm.
And I remember once that I started one and I was planning to go for about a month. And I already thought it real true because whenever I do a juice feast, it doesn't matter how many times I've already done it. I've also done one like for more than 3 months. So I'm pretty experienced in it and I've done it for many years.
Mhm.
But even so, I always prepare myself on every level, like body, soul, spirit, for that juice feast because you just don't know how your body's gonna react. It
Mhm.
can always be different, and most of the time the first 3 days are most difficult, but I've also had like that the first 3 4 days like a breeze, and then around day 7 I was like, my goodness, I'm
Mhm.
having like a hard day today. And
Yes.
it has to do with so many things, what's happening in your life, like externally, how especially for us female, your hormonal world is just a different thing than for males. So it can be so many things. And I want to say though, my hormonal world, my endocrine system is doing great.
That's
But yeah, I don't have any issues with anything whatsoever. But it is a given that we are definitely different creatures than guys, and so more things happen
mhm.
inside of us. So
Yes.
that's, yeah, I just really want to clarify it because it's not normal that you have hormonal issues.
Right.
It's not normal that you have cramps,
Yeah.
during your periods. It's
Mhm.
not normal. It's
Mhm.
common, very common, but it's not normal.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, and someone will never ever notice what time of month it is for me. It's
Mhm.
a flat line. I am super solid with it. So,
Mhm.
anyways, back to the diet.
Giving
All
some
those
great
rabbit trails,
nuggets.
right?
Yeah, you're giving some great nuggets, so thank you.
Thanks. And well, I love smoothie bowls, man. I think they are just fantastic, and I think bananas are just also so wonderful. So what I usually do, I chuck in about 5 6 bananas, mostly 5 because I have fairly large bananas in
Mhm.
my blender, and I might add dragon fruit powder, or I might add spirulina. I always add sea moss gel, and I also make other smoothie bowls like with other types of fruit, and that I do less banana. But bananas are just so fantastic; they
Mhm.
are just such a good source. So I
Mhm.
think they are the great, and I think they are highly underappreciated actually.
Yeah.
Like, and especially if you're interested in eating more raw in a day and you struggle a little in how can you feed yourself properly. I'm saying go banana mono meals. A mono meal, for whoever doesn't know, it means that you eat one type of fruit per meal. So for me, that might look like that I eat 7 or 8 bananas in one setting, in one go. Some people like, what, do you eat so many bananas? It's a breeze, really.
Mhm.
And you feel so satiated afterwards. You feel so good. So that is also something that I might do. But uh, juice in the morning, always start with my celery juice. And with my celery juice, I take also chlorella tablets.
Mhm.
And then I go on to my leafy green juice.
Mhm.
And then my orange juice I will drink whenever. It might be later in the morning, it might be around lunch. It just depends on my day goes. And not every day is the same. Sometimes I feel, oh, I need way more nutrients than other days. So then at times I'm at 11 o'clock. I've got all my juices through and I've already eaten like a smoothie bowl. And
Mhm.
other days I'm like, oh man, my juice is still there. and I'll have it later. But so juices in the morning and smoothie bowl and then fruits, and that's how I eat till lunch. And when it comes to fruit, I always focus on water rich fruit, and of course ripe. And also when it go back to the bananas,
Mhm.
it's so important that you eat bananas and that it's nice spotted. Like
Mhm.
when a banana is completely yellow, it's not good ripe yet. So those sugars aren't developed like they should.
Mhm.
And it's one of the reasons actually why some people experience issues when they start eating more bananas, because they don't eat proper ripe bananas, and that
Mhm.
might cause some troubles. Eat really good ripe bananas. They need to be spotted all over the place. It doesn't matter even if they get a little bit black already.
Mhm.
um, of course, the banana itself shouldn't be black, but
Right.
yeah, but it needs to be spotted, that
Yeah.
peel. Absolutely, because then those sugars are developed in a way that they, can do so many good things for your body and also can be assimilated in a really easy way by the body. Like assimilation should be a really easy process,
Mhm.
but because we eat in general so many things that our bodies aren't meant for to eat or to be used in such large properties,
Mhm.
assimilation will not be an easy process. So that's, yeah. Anyway, that's that.
Mhm.
So water rich fruit, it's super important because it hydrates the body on a
Mhm.
cellular level, and you want that. It's very important. And if you do not drink juice or not a lot of juice in a day, and also you do not eat proper fruits and leafy greens, then you do need to drink also enough water.
Mhm.
I do not drink a whole lot of water. I do drink water, but hey, there you go. But
Mhm.
it's so important that you're hydrated well.
Yes.
If you start hydrating your body properly, you will also start to notice so many differences in your overall health. It will go up.
Mhm.
You really start feeling better.
Yes.
So yeah, and then for lunch, it changes. I am not someone who eats every day the same.
Mhm.
I really love to make raw wraps. I
Yeah.
make them in my dehydrator. And
Mhm.
one of the reasons why I love them so much is because it are like salads in disguise.
Mhm.
And at the same time, they are so satiating that wrap makes a huge difference when you add it to a salad. So I love to smother it with a good spread, and then always I put greens on top, then sprouts, and then whatever else I want to do.
Mhm.
So marinated carrots, bell pepper, cucumber, pickles, whatever, you name it, avocado, and I roll it up. But my reps are like massive. And it happens fairly often that I've eaten in half because, I chuck that thing through a half. And
Mhm.
then I'm like, okay, I will eat the other half later on. And so then maybe half an hour later, I'm like, okay, I can have the other part now. But there are also times when I'm like, oh no, I'm good. And especially when I'm on the road, I always love to give it away to
Mhm.
someone else,
Mhm.
because they always love it. And it's kind of like a nice way to introduce people into really healthy and good food.
Yes.
And they can't believe that it's all raw and that you make that yourself, and that must be hard. I'm like, oh no, it's so easy. Like I make 8 or 9 within no time, and I just pop
Mhm.
them in my dehydrator, flip them after a few hours, and then let them go, and it's all good. And I
Yes.
can keep them in the fridge, and it amazes people.
Mhm.
So oftentimes a wrap, but also like I love to eat a humongous salad with a delicious dressing on top, or I love to make flatbreads
Mhm.
and bagels. But I eat less of those things just because it's less hydrating, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
Uh, so I love it. I've also in my book like Raw Food Feast, I've like a lot of those recipes, you know, bagels, bread, flatbread, and crackers, and all these things. And I
Mm-hmm.
think they're fantastic as add-ons. And also, you know, when you're throwing a party, I mean, people will not believe what they see, that it's all raw. But yes, it's all raw and it's healthy and it's gluten-free, it's soy-free, and you can eat as much as you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just fantastic. So I like to do that from time to time as well, but mostly it will be wraps or salads for lunch, or another smoothie bowl can be too. And I also have periods where I like to, you know, I just listen to my body, and then my body just actually tells me, hey, I just need more fruit. Oh, okay. Then I eat like a mono fruit meal, for example, for lunch, like what I already said, like a bunch of bananas or melons, or it just also depends on the season, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, then I just eat a fruit meal. And during the afternoon, I I hardly ever feel like eating. Um, you know, I've already fueled my body with so many things. So,
Mm-hmm.
no. And then for dinner, I do like to make a pre-dinner juice, and that is usually then also a leafy green juice.
Mm-hmm.
But then I make mostly like a 16 ounce, like a half a liter of juice, and not a liter. I can, but you know, mostly I do that, and then I feel great about it, and then I eat or a wrap or another salad. I am my salads aren't simple, as in that they, you know, just only greens. I always add things, but for me, a salad is still like, for example, yesterday I shredded red cabbage and carrots, and I made a dressing with pomegranate and some tahini and some other things,
Oh.
garlic, some spices, super simple. And you
Mm-hmm.
mix it, and then, you know, I shred carrot, red cabbage, and I massage that with that dressing. And then
Mm-hmm.
I added some raisins, some fresh parsley,
Mm-hmm.
and then I topped it with a little bit, just really a little bit, like a teaspoon or something, like slivered almonds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not like a little salad, it's like a salad, right?
Yes.
And then I eat that. It's
Mm-hmm.
not hard to make. It's super delicious. And when people see it, they're often like, whoa, well, you know, that must be a lot of work. But actually, it isn't,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I love to eat those kind of salads too. So when I say salad, it doesn't always mean only greens. And it, you know, it just depends. And
Yes.
in that, and you know, carrots, red carrots, I think those are really fantastic vegetables. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I digest them really well, so I can, you know, do what works for you. Listen to your own body; it will tell you. It knows best. It's so much wiser than we are, aren't it? So yeah,
Yes.
and that's it. And another thing is that I like to go to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
because I want to get up early.
Yes.
Um, and I do not want to eat preferably 3 hours before I go to bed, for, you know, your melatonin and just to have the best rest and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to eat latest for by 7, before, so not after 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that works really well for me, and I'm totally and mostly I actually try to eat around 6, but it just, you know, it's not always working out that way, and sometimes, you know, I have appointments in Amsterdam, and I'll be stuck in traffic or whatever, and I'll be later at home, and
Mm-hmm.
life happens.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, my day.
Wow, you have some great eating over there. And I wanted to say this about the green juices. I call them blood transfusion. I mean, because
Yes.
it has like healed, like changed my whole system. I mean,
Doesn't it?
oh
Right?
yes, you just reminded me I need to do more green juices. But I do have my salads, and I'm getting back on my smoothies, my green smoothie. You all right?
Oh, green smoothies are the bomb.
Yes.
So important.
Yet my husband has to have one every day. You all right? Every day he has to have a green smoothie to take to work. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that he feels that way because it's so nutritious. It's so
Yes.
healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You
You know,
don't
that's another thing. If I can share, in the raw vegan world, in the raw world, raw food world, um, Dr. Robert Morris, he shares so much about fruit, right?
yeah.
And which is great because we need a lot of fruit. But people often forget that all the things that he is sharing on his channel is to people who need to detoxify on
Mhm.
another level.
Mhm.
But let this be clear that he is not against vegetables, and he actually takes leafy greens into that same banner under the vegetables. He definitely knows and understands that leafy greens are far superior than vegetables, but he would say fruit and vegetables, right?
Yes.
And he's talking about like when you are detoxifying, how important fruit is. And I agree. I
Mhm.
do think it's really great though for a lot of people when they're detoxifying to also focus on their greens. But
Mhm.
what happens a lot in the raw food world, and not because of Dr. Robert Morse,
Mhm.
this has been happening like forever, is that people, they call themselves fruitarians, and I also do believe that we are fruitarians.
Mhm.
Champions are fruitarians as well, and if you look at their overall diet,
Mhm.
they are not only eating fruit. No, they eat for, when we have like a circle, like 100%, they eat for about half fruit in a day.
Mhm.
And then for that other half, they eat about um, uh, 80, 70, 80% of greens from that half, right? And
Mhm.
then that last bit that is over, that might be nuts and seeds and whatever else they find in their surroundings.
Mhm.
And what I already shared before, when there's scarcity, when food is scarce, they might also eat some meat, like animal products, and that can look like a lot of ants, for example.
Mhm.
So when you look um, in the raw food world, there are so many different streams. Nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But I do want to stress that it's super duper duper important to focus on both fruit and leafy greens.
Yes.
And, the fruitarian lifestyle doesn't mean that you do not eat greens.
Mhm.
And so many raw foodies who initially thrive on olive fruits, and I get it because they need to detoxify, and their body are coming to in alignment.
Mhm.
But eventually they reach a certain threshold and they start having health issues. And gladly nowadays there is less shame on sharing those things, but
Mhm.
there is a lot of shame in every diet, right?
Yeah.
Because they are so convinced this is the way. And
Mhm.
yes, it is, but you also need leafy greens. And so gladly more and more raw foodies have come to the conclusion eventually, like, hey, I was eating only fruit, but eventually I noticed I'm not doing great.
Mhm.
I'm missing things. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're missing your leafy greens. You're missing like those super important minerals. And also, like when it comes to gray hair,
Mhm.
a lot of people and also raw foodies have gray hair. Again, it's common in the whole world, not just for raw foodies, but for everyone, but it's not normal.
Mhm.
And I always love that story of Anne Wigmore. You
Yes.
know, yeah, she reversed her gray hair
Mhm,
into her natural hair again.
mhm,
Why and how? Because she remembered that when she had cancer, that her grandmother was always so fond of greens.
mhm,
So that's the reason why she started eating greens, like a ton of it,
mhm.
lots of sprouts, and started juicing greens.
Yes.
And not only did she heal her cancer, but she reversed her hair color again.
Yes.
And that is really thanks to the greens, because the greens are so mineral rich.
Mhm,
And also, it's so important because you need those minerals as well for your stomach acids.
mhm,
And a lot of people do not have enough stomach acid, and that is why they have parasites. I
mhm.
tell you, if you have a healthy stomach acid, and it's also the only place in your body that should be as acidic as can be, and then the rest of your body is supposed to be alkaline.
Yes.
Um, if your stomach acid is acidic,
Mhm.
as it is supposed to be, there is not a parasite who will survive in your body. Out
Yeah.
of the question.
Mhm,
So therefore as well, it's so dang important to focus on both greens and fruit.
mhm.
Those two really are friends. They go hand in hand. And that's why I am so fond of juicing and also of the raw food lifestyle. But
Mhm.
juicing is so good because I'm not sure if you need to go
Oh,
somewhere.
no, I'm fine.
But okay. But, there are so many myths in the world, and I said it before, it is not easy to find your way on what is true, what isn't true.
Mhm.
But juicing does not does not remove all the fiber.
Mhm.
And juice can never ever be compared to pop soda. It's
Right.
not the same.
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
it absolutely not the same. And it just it I'm just like, it's a no-brainer that that's not the same. But apparently, millions of people are swayed. That is like, oh my goodness, no, I cannot eat, or sorry, I cannot drink that orange juice because it's so much sugar. Well,
Mhm.
first of all, you should be jumping for joy for that kind of sugar because it's unrefined sugar. But
Mhm.
it doesn't come just as unrefined sugar. My goodness, there are tons of vitamins and minerals in that juice. It's loaded with amino acids. It's like a health bomb for your body.
Mhm.
Plus, um, the fiber which is removed is
Mhm.
the soluble fiber. But
Yes.
the insoluble fiber is present in your juice, and that insoluble fiber is like a joy party feast for your microbiome,
Yes.
for your good bacteria.
Mhm.
They feast, they eat on those fibers. So please, if you are hesitant to start juicing because it might be the same as pop soda, or the fiber story, well, myth, lie, however you want to call it,
Mhm.
it's shit. Juicing is fantastic.
Yeah.
And because, I mean, soluble fiber is great and you need it,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I think there's a balance, and that's why I'm saying, e- juicing and smoothies and your normal meals like your fruit, and you also need to chew.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you need those fibers as well, because fiber is also underrated. Fiber is super duper important for vibrant health.
Mhm.
Um, but because of those soluble fibers, because those are removed,
Mhm.
your body is actually able to use 100% of the minerals, the vitamins, everything that is in that juice. It can absorb all 100% of
Mm-hmm.
the nutrients.
Yeah.
100%. So basically, it means everything.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you would eat all that stuff that you would put in your juice, first of all, you would not be able to eat it probably all in one go because you can, in that 32-ounce leafy green juice of mine, I am not able to finish in one go so many greens, 4 to 6 apples, one cucumber, and a lime, and turmeric, and ginger. It's like, man, I would feel, I
Yeah.
couldn't,
Yeah.
but I can drink it
Yeah.
in a fairly short time, and so I get so many nutrients into my body in one go. And
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to leafy greens, it's kind of like difficult to really chew those leafy greens well.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
we are not trained with our jaw muscles to eat as well as we should.
Mm-hmm.
I'm preaching to myself as well, like, you need to chew better, right?
Yeah.
It's a thing. Um, I'm also like, oh, I need to do this and I still need to do that. Eat quickly. No, you need to take your time for a meal.
Yeah.
Again, I need to take also time for a meal. It's just so important.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the chimpanzee, how he eats his greens and how it looks like after he's done chewing, it seriously looks like a mixture between juice and a smoothie. That's how fine it is chewed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is great because in that way, you break open all those cell walls
Yes.
within those greens.
Mm-hmm.
And that releases, those molecules and those vitamins and minerals
Mm-hmm.
to be absorbed by the body. But we aren't great chewers. And, so that is one other reason why you can benefit so much by leafy greens and green smoothies.
Yeah.
So those two, like, seriously, they need to be part of your diet on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing is to have every day a leafy green juice and a leafy green smoothie. But if you would, have one day this and the other way that, I am already so happy if you would do that because it is just the best. And
Yes.
your health is going to change because you get so many nutrients into your body, and your body's going to thank you for it. It's going to be
Mhm.
super happy.
Yes, yes. I love this is amazing. But I love my greens, my salad, and I used to didn't even like salads. But
Wow.
I have to have a big salad every night or most nights or smoothies. Like I gotta have my greens. I don't feel right. And when you were talking about chewing, I have to tell myself, okay, take your time and chew because, like you say, you be just chewing and and I know that I'm not chewing properly. So,
Yeah, one of the things that I try to do, I don't always remind myself of it when I'm busy with making my salad, but I try to actually to already cut my leafy greens way smaller.
yes,
For example, when you buy spinach, even when it's baby spinach, it isn't like very big. So, and also it looks great for a picture, right? So
yeah,
you put it in there and then the rest. But it's so much better to actually chop your leafy greens in a
mhm,
smaller way
yes,
because we don't chew that well. And
hmm,
then you also, you need to chew less to break it even more down. But
hmm.
still, chewing is just so, so, so important. And I need to remind myself often, like, hey, slow down, girl. Yeah, take your time, eat well. But it's definitely because I drink every day leafy green juice, and most of the days also have well, I've always have a smoothie, but it's not always with greens in it, right? So, but it is great. It will transform your life.
Yeah. You know what? My husband, I'm like, can you please? This is why I like my salads because he cut them up.
Oh, that's great.
And I'm just talking about him today, but because he's amazing.
Yeah.
36 years, man.
Wow. Come on, girl.
Thank you. But I tell him the salad don't taste right when I do it. It just I get tired of it when I do it. But when he cut it up, he chops it so fine.
Oh, that's
Even the
wonderful.
onions are sliced so I mean, it's like perfect. But when I do it, it's a big old piece of chunk of onion, and my salad is just too chunky. I just can't. I need him to to get it right for me. So yeah, I love it. But what he does, he just started back chopping them back up because he be working everything. But what he does, he'll chop it a day ahead. Like I had my salad last night, so he pre-chopped one up for me today. So which is great.
It's the love that's poured into that chopping what makes it
Yes.
taste so good.
Yes, it's so good. I just
Yeah.
love it. I mean, I'm like, I'm full, but I'm gonna get all this in. I'll let it sit for a few minutes and then I finish it up.
Yeah.
I eat a big salad every night.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yes.
Yeah. Well, you're a blessed woman with such a good hobby.
Yes, and he is blessed too.
Yeah, of course, of course. It works two ways for sure. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I am enjoying your presence, your just all the knowledge that you're sharing with us, the enlightenment, just the joy and the ease of eating healthy. Um, do you have any last remarks or anything? It don't have to be last remark. If you have anything else before we end the interview.
Oh, well, um, I just first want to say I also really enjoy our talk. So thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's wonderful. And I love your heart. So it's great.
Yes.
I really sense that you just ooze love and that you have such a passion just for health and for people. So that's really wonderful. I like that. Also, when we had contact initially, I felt so good about you right away. And I was like, this is such a neat lady. So I was like, heck yes, I would love to chat with you.
Yes.
Yeah. But well, one thing that I don't know if it's one thing that I want to say because most of the time I go into all these rabbit trails. But what I do want to say
Me too. Good
is
girls.
yeah. Well, what I really want to say is don't be too hard on yourself. And I see that a lot once again, in different lifestyles, but we are talking about raw food
Mhm,
specifically right now, right? That it has our focus and also juicing and give yourself some slack.
mhm,
And once again, it's not bad if you eat some cooked things here and there. Like I know there's stories out there that all cooked foods are poison. Come on now. Like seriously, eating like a cooked carrot is poison. Come
mhm.
on. And
Yeah.
not all cooked food is okay. I agree. And I also would say that the majority of your food intake should be raw, and the results will speak for itself because as soon as you start eating more raw,
Mhm.
your life is going to change, whether you like it or not, but it's going to change, and it's going to change for the better. And of course you'll like it, I'm just kidding, but it's just so fantastic. But
Yes.
then at the same time, give yourself some slack because you don't I get a lot of messages from people from all sorts of walks of lives, and they're like, oh, I really want to go also like 100% raw and this and that. And I'm like, why do you want that?
Mhm.
What is really the reason that you want to go 100% raw?
Yeah.
Is that a conviction that comes from inside of you
Mm-hmm.
or not?
Yes.
Or is it that external world
Mm-hmm.
that you feel pressured by,
Mm-hmm.
that if it ain't all raw, it ain't good. That raw is not law.
Right.
It isn't. And
Mm-hmm.
once again, I am a huge advocate for eating like a ton of raw food, and I encourage people like, yeah, do it. It's great. And eat more raw food.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never tell people like, oh, you need to go all the way. Like, no, but do eat plenty of raw food. I think, you know, there are so many researches done, and also Paul Kukachov. Well, I always mess up his name, but Paul, I can say that.
Oh, yes. Oh,
he he many years. Yeah, I've also mentioned this in my books. He has done research, and he noticed that if you eat more than 50% cooked foods, your body will actually, your white blood cells will actually see it as an attack on the body.
yes. Yes, I heard that. Yes.
Yeah. And I try to explain it as easy and as understandable as possible, but that's basically how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, well, I eat mostly raw, but even if I eat a cooked food meal, like for example, a curry, seriously, the rest of my day has been raw, 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 raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I eat a high raw food diet. But, even if you would sit around 70% raw and the rest cooked, if that cooked food is healthy food, and you thrive
Mm-hmm.
by that, and it makes you happy and doable, and it doesn't give you stress, and you actually enjoy it that way, then that might be the best thing for you, because it's not just about your diet, it's really about health in your body, soul, and spirit. And
Yeah,
those three, they work together.
that's
So
right.
yeah, it's just so important. And I have seen it so many times over and over, in all these years, how people beat themselves up, and most of the time as well, they want to eat raw, not because it's their own conviction, but because they are listening to influencers, to
Mm-hmm.
other people, spreading a certain message,
Mm-hmm.
and which can come sometimes with like buckets of shame and guilt.
Yeah.
If you feel fearful, ditch it. That's not okay. That is actually a sign that is not from God, that comes straight from another world where you don't want to spend any time. You want to walk in the light, you want to live lightly, and, you just, it's just not okay. And also beating yourself up, it is not okay.
Right.
And so if you want to eat more raw, that is super duper great. But always ask yourself the question, why do you want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And finding your own why is so important.
Mm-hmm.
I found my why a long time ago. I was 17 or 18 years old, and I was already a long time, like I've been since like 14, 15 already into health. So, and I'm now 44, so just that you may understand like how long I've
Mm-hmm.
been super interested in it. Anyways, I was at the beach, and I saw this guy, and you could see that he was an elderly guy,
Mm-hmm.
but not because he was wrinkled or whatsoever, you just see that, right? But at the same time, he looked so vibrant.
Wow.
He looked, glowing. His body posture was great. And I was like, my goodness, this is also the way that I want to get old.
Mhm.
So I literally went to that guy and I said to him, "Oh, my goodness, you look great.
Mhm.
What do you do?" And he was like, "I eat healthy, and I rest well, and I, sleep well, and I exercise, I move." And I thought, noted. Yeah. And
Yes.
I was already, of course, on this quest, of
Mhm.
getting everything out of life in the best way possible. So yeah, that has never left me. And that really helped me to form my why, because I want to get old, but in a way that I am spiritually and mentally strong. I
Yeah.
want my body to be strong and flexible. I want my health to be excellent. I don't want to, have troubles getting off the couch. I want to jump off it at whatever age. And it's possible, sometimes you see those little movies pass by, like a grandma of 80 plus who is smashing tennis, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yep, that's what I want.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Because so many people, they say, oh, once you get older, things are just not working as well anymore. Well, it just all depends. Of course, you cannot influence everything in life, but there are so many things that you have control over.
Yes.
So go for it, and create your own why. So my why is, I just want to be in vibrant health, in
Mhm.
body, soul, and spirit at an old age, and yeah, be still enjoying life and giving to people, and
Mhm.
all those good things. And,
Yes.
and to reach that, I discovered, hey, a lot of raw food is the key. And
Yes.
juicing
Yes.
is a massive key.
Yes.
And eating smoothie bowls is a key. And eating a ton of ripe, water-rich fruits,
Yes.
leafy greens,
Mhm.
So all those little things
Mhm.
add to it.
Yeah.
Exercising is important. Spending time in nature is important.
Yes.
If you notice that certain people are not such a great influence,
Mhm.
ditch it.
Yes.
Like, you don't hate on them, but
Right.
go on with your own life. You
Exactly.
want to have people in your surrounding that celebrate you, not merely tolerate you. No, they need to celebrate you. They
Yes.
need to stand next to you and like, hey, let's go. And if you having a hard time, I'm helping you. I'm supporting you. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, no. It's like, you can do it. I'm here for you and I'm here to support you. That's the kind of, world that you want to create around you,
Yes.
to enjoy life and to be great at life. And so if you feel shamed into like, oh, you don't eat enough raw food or whatever else it might be, reject those lies.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really about freedom in body, soul, and spirit. So this is I guess this is really what I want to, definitely give to whoever hears it. Love on yourself, love others, and yeah, things will be okay.
Yes. Wow. This is beautiful. Love it. Love you, and love you for, I mean, just
Thumbs up behind you. Thank you.
do you do consultations? Because I do have you guys, I have her information down below in the description. So go click after this live and follow her and everything she's doing about her book. I gotta check it out. Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, it is. I got it here. Raw food feast.
Yes, I don't
And
have.
this is kind of like a fun little story. Um, I uh, love music and I love raw food. And I thought, hey, how can I um, blend those two worlds together? So that's what I did with Raw Food Feast. So all the chapters are a wink to the music industry and also all the subtitles.
Wow.
And which was so fantastic. Like, I released the book on the 22nd of February from this year, and that date wasn't without reason, because my father passed away a number of years ago, very unexpectedly. So when I released my first book, which is only published in Dutch, I created a recipe. I turned it around in a completely plant food recipe,
Mhm.
and it was a tribute to my father. And then I have a second book, but that's raw food immersion, but that one is only available as an ebook. And so this one was in my heart, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to make raw food feast, then two things: one, it will be in print, and two, I want to release it on my father's birthday. And so I did that. And another party that happened is that my book became a bestseller within
Wow.
less than 12 hours in
Wow.
the three lists on Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Beautiful.
I can't thumbs up. I love it. Keep them coming. This is so funny.
Man. Wow.
So that was just a mind blow, you know. It's just so great. And yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I do not do consultations, but what I do is I create books, and in that way I want to help people.
Mhm.
Right now I'm working on a project, and it's going to be a health journal, and that will help people. It will be a 90-day health journal, so I'm really working hard on getting that finished.
Mhm.
And it will be a journal that will take people, yeah, on this beautiful journey towards vibrant health. So I will share all sorts of things in there, like cold water therapy, grounding, recipes, benefits of raw food, benefits of leafy greens, about fruits, about, so many different things. And
Mhm.
then also every day you get like affirmations. You fill out a few things, and you will do every time a 30-day journey. I don't really like the word challenge, because the word challenge, it kind of like says, oh, it's a hard thing.
Oh.
It's a challenge. It's challenging. No, we are doing fun things, and we're doing things that give us energy. It's not a challenge. It's a great thing. It might bring some challenge along the way to reach that goal, and the end of your journey.
Mhm.
But that's life.
Yeah.
But no, and so you get to choose what you want to focus on for those 30 days, and then every day there's a tracker, and you can fill in a smiley. How are you doing? Like great, like a super happy smile, or like, yeah, pretty good, or like, nah, this day wasn't that great, which
Mhm.
all is part of the journey.
Yeah.
So that is something that is coming out soon. And I also have a course. And through that course, that is really how I want to help people to a healthier lifestyle. And that's the Food Freedom course.
Mhm.
And yeah, in that course, you have all sorts of workbooks and things. And also through that course, I help people to establish their why, because I think it's fundamental to have established your why.
Yeah.
Because when you are convinced of your why you're doing it,
Mhm.
and it comes from within, and you're really like, this is what I want. It's your oh, my battery is almost, but one sec.
Okay. This is so good. Exciting.
My I just took my laptop and placed it somewhere else. Hoppa, here we go.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have established your why, and it comes from within,
Mm-hmm.
If a day or a week doesn't go so well, you're
Mm-hmm.
not easily shaken because you have that inner conviction.
Mm-hmm.
It's your own thing that you wanna do, wanna reach, and that's why you keep going.
Yeah.
Of course, I've also have had times and periods where I wasn't so great at what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But, that happens,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. And I also I really dislike when people say, oh, I fell off the bandwagon and now I need to. I'm like, oh, so because a day or a week didn't go so great, like you fell off completely, like, no, man,
Mm-mm.
life is not static,
Right.
and don't expect it to be. And again, don't be so hard on yourself. So that is really what also the Food Freedom course is all about. I just really want to help people to go to another level, not just with their diet. Again, it's about health in body, soul, and spirit, and that
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm passionate about. And but of course, like, I have people who message me, or with questions, and I always try to help people in that way.
Mm-hmm.
um you know of course, but consultations and stuff, yeah, I just really feel that with writing books, which takes a lot of time, and making good quality content, and, like, for example, creating a course, I can help so many more people than one-on-one things. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, this is the route that I've chosen, to focus on
Mm-hmm.
reaching as many people as possible, instead of like spending a lot of time one on one with people. I feel that, and I think it's great if other people feel called to it. Hey, I'm not criticizing anyone else. I'm just sharing what works for me, and what, yeah, and you never know. Maybe in 5 or 10 years, I think differently about it, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna. You never know with me,
Yeah.
but but right now, no. This is the way I just try to create content, and I also have a website, rawfoodfeast.com, and I try to write regularly blogs, and in that way help people on their journey. Yeah, so that.
Wow. Thank you so much. I'm going to go buy your book.
Oh,
Little one over here, she's excited as well. We have enjoyed your presence.
thank you
This
so
is
much, and thanks for the wonderful thumbs up. I think this has been one of the best live interviews I've done, because of all those great thumbs up in the back, like the extra support.
you want to peep your head in right quick? Hi.
Oh, hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time and for asking those great questions. And I really appreciate you and what you're doing. And I think it's just, this is also a way of helping people, right? Like what
Yeah.
you do with a channel.
Mhm.
It's fantastic. You bring on so many great people, and you ask fantastic questions. And in that way, you are helping so many people. And of course, like in an interview, you can never cover everything that there is to know about health.
Right.
But through what you do, people get to learn about other people, and they're like, hey, what about this? And it's just, it all just parts of that puzzle, and eventually people are able to create their own journey and their why. And I think your channel is just a wonderful example of that. So thank
Thank
you for all your work. And
you.
yeah, and I see that you do so many interviews, like, hey, check us out this day with this one, this way with that one. It's just fantastic. And it might sound also easy, like, oh, I'm just starting a YouTube channel. No, it's hard work. I
Mhm.
know,
Yes.
and I just want to let you know I really appreciate that, all the time and effort that you put in that, and I
Thank you.
just I just hope that loads and loads and loads of people will subscribe to your channel, and
Thank
that it will become like a massive force in this world to
you.
reach just really the masses, because we need health, right?
Yeah.
And I think if we look at the mismanagement period that we have had for the last few years, with all the crazy stuff that has been going on,
Mhm.
it has been so clear that it was already very clear to me. But we are not slaves of a system.
Right.
We have our own minds.
Mhm.
We can think for ourselves,
Yes.
and we know what is good to put in our bodies and not.
Mhm.
And we can think for ourselves, but we do need to think for ourselves, and that also means we need to do research ourselves, and not just you know don't believe me just for what I say. Go research it for yourself, and that goes
Yeah.
the same for anyone else is saying it, whether it's coming from certain like sources that, like, are whatever category they
Bibles.
are in. Just check, do
Yeah.
your own research, and yeah, make your own conclusions. But channels like this is just fantastic, because it just helps to create a clear picture on what vibrant health actually really is.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the life speak for it. The lifestyle and how you glowing and looking energy and looking beautiful and everything. The hair is beautiful. I mean, just the light is shining. So thank
Oh, this is so sweet. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on our channel. We appreciate you and your time.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate it too. And I wish you and your wonderful daughter and your great husband a fantastic week, and I wish you all the best.
Same to you. Thank you.
Yeah,
This is
thank
what I
you.
tell my YouTube family. Thank you guys for watching. Love yourself first because you are worth it. Peace.